just making me come.
안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 운동해야지. 오늘은 즐거운 금요일이네요. 여러분들은 평소 같았으면 불금을 즐겼겠지만 코로나가 오늘도 500명이 넘었죠. 수도권은 2단계 때문에 9시 이후에 식당이 영업을 못하고요. 수도권의 이외의 분들은 불금을 즐기시려나요? 이러다가 진짜 2.5단계 가고 연말까지. 저는 어차피 오늘 불금을 즐기지 못합니다. 오늘 밤에 또 출근이에요. 오늘 밤 출근, 내일 밤 출근. 일요일날 하루 쉬고 다시 또 월요일부터 또 야간 출근. 오늘도 여전히 영어 학원을 갔다 왔고요. 영어 학원이라고 하지만 영어 가외, 1대1 가외를 받고 있어요. 너무 피곤하고 지칩니다. 일단 운동, 스트레칭을 하고 뭘 해야 될까요? 팔굽혀펴기, 오늘은 복근 위주로 하겠습니다. 복근 위주. 복근 위주로 한번 해보겠어요.
This is probably the most ambitious project I've ever done, as far as took me out of my comfort zone, stressed me, blood, sweat, and that's where the words blood, sweat, and tears come from. I haven't cried about it, but I can say about my bloody fingers, I really had to rack my brain a bit, because form has to follow the function, as they say.
Car aficionado Reddy D sees Cape stance as an interesting new development in the Cape Town car scene, another car subculture adding to the burgeoning Cape scene.
So the stance movement, it's all about going low and slow, and your car's really got to look flashy and it's got to be clean and it's got to be awesome. These guys are just all about chilling with the best wheels that you can look at, and slow and low, and a lot of the young kids gravitate towards that movement because just of the swag that comes with it. You're going slow, people have more time to look at your car. You got old school luggage on the roof. Some of the guys roll like that. They got the old school Beetles. And a lot of the young kids, they all love the old school cars. They love the cars from the 80s and the 70s. That's kind of where they're at.
Most importantly, the Cape Town car scene is creating new ways for young people to generate a passion for cars that will lead to learning new skills, getting jobs, finding fulfillment, being safe.
We want to teach them about the added benefits and the educational value. And at the end of the day, it's all about taking control of your life and making sure that you're not a danger to anyone else on the roads.
Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank. Superhero. Their disabilities are no match for their resolve.
They have taken a life that society has told them is broken, and they have turned it into something extraordinary.
From rugby to swimming, canoeing to athletics, join me, Christina McFarlane, as I meet 5 Paralympic athletes from around the world whose stories of willpower, strength and ambition define what it means to be a superhero.
Superhero, Saturday on CNN. This year, CNN Heroes isn't just saluting everyday heroes, but the larger moments that defined the biggest stories of the year. Vote for this year's most inspiring moments at cnnheroes.com. This is the 100 Club, our look at companies that are 100 years old or older. Dannon yogurts are known the world over. The business was fermented in the Spanish city of Barcelona, where Dr. Isaac Carasso began producing yogurt to help combat indigestion among children. In 2017, the company launched a new slogan, One Planet, One Health, and has now committed to making all of its packaging reusable, recyclable, and compostable by 2025. To mark its centenary, Dannon has allowed access to almost 2,000 of its yogurt strains to help scientific research into food and health benefits.
I guess the essence of the story of Danone is entrepreneurship for health.
요거트 먹고 싶다.
I'm David Colbert in Shanghai, China, and this is CNN.
Coronavirus. To get daily news updates in your inbox, sign up for the CNN newsletter. Coronavirus. Fact versus fiction.
Welcome to African Voices. I'm Mari Topo, and our change maker this week is international pop star Akon.
이래서 사람들이 필라테스 가면은 사지가 찢기는 듯한 느낌을 받는다고 하는 거겠죠.
But these days, he's making headlines for his ventures outside of music, including his plans to build his own city in Senegal. We'll see what it took to secure that deal and show you why he's still held in such high regard in the music industry.
In Africa, that concept has sparked from the moment I put out my record. You know, I was always thinking the day I get big or the day I can be of an influence or have some kind of, you know, power to make some decisions in Africa, I want to go in and start developing. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Akon, and I'm literally building the future of Africa. I'm a change maker. You know, when you do things like this, people always look at it as super or too ambitious. But every great idea starts with an idea.
In September, pop star and musical entrepreneur Akon was in Senegal to officially unveil the designs for his boldest idea to date, Akon City.
It's funny because Akon City was talked about as a conversation in 2010, and I was having a brief conversation with Atepa, who's one of the leading architects in Dakar, that big monument that you see in Senegal, he designed and put there. And he said, listen, man, I don't sing, you know, I'm just an architect. If I was a singer, I'd be trying to create Akon City. And I thought about that and I was like, you know what, he's right. As many people as we impact in this world, and I'm trying to do good and create a more of a philanthropic folder for myself, that would be the ultimate, you know, achievement, is to create a city that's not only gonna house, you know, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, but also create jobs for hundreds of thousands of people, but also leave a landmark for myself from a legacy standpoint.
Akon, who was born in the United States but raised in Senegal, says the proposed multi-billion-dollar development will be comparable to modern cities like Dubai and Singapore.
The project itself is a $6 billion project on a 10-year construction build-out. We're going to do it in 3 phases. 3.5 years, phase 1 should be finished. And that consists of the hospital, the Akon Village Resort, the police station, fire station, and the basic infrastructure like all the roads, lighting, and everything like that. The residential also is a part of phase 1, which is condominiums, mansion resorts as well too. So by phase 1, we'll be able to accept and be able to welcome visitors into the city.
When all 3 phases are complete, Akon says the city will include a university, film studios, data centers, resorts, theme parks, and several other large projects. For now, Akon City is nothing but land. 2,000 acres of coastal greenland south of Senegal's capital city, Dakar. Acquiring the land was a crucial step, that required getting the president of Senegal, Macky Sall, to see Akon's vision.
We want to also be able to have a maintenance situation where the locals are the ones that maintain the city. And all the jobs that's created will be created for the young generation that's coming forward.
But from the beginning, I give you advice to check the company who can do this kind of business.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You don't want to lose time.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, so we want to leave. It's actually purchased land, but it was gifted to me because that land originally was allocated for something else. I think the confidence he has in me has to do with a lot of things. One is because when I first approached to do lighting, it was clear that I had no lighting in my background. So it was almost like, I'm not quite sure if he knows what he's doing, but I don't think he's dumb enough to put his name on the line and destroy everything he's built for something he knows that he can't deliver on.
He's referring to Akon Lighting Africa, the business he co-founded in 2014 to provide solar-powered lighting solutions to off-grid locations in Africa.
So Akon Lighting Africa actually is what's sparking everything that you're seeing now. The goal was, okay, now that we have pilots in 16 countries, now let's start building actual cities that Akon Lighting actually will power.
Before he could begin building his first city, there were other people he needed to convince.
So we're here in Bourget. This is actually the village right next door to where we're gonna build an Akon city. I came to talk to the elders, get their blessings, and also, just make sure that they're involved. There was projects there for projects to be put in that area in the past that didn't really formulate well because they didn't go through the proper procedures as to get into the, following tradition. And me being Senegalese, naturally, you always want to go and consult your elders, your spiritual advisors, and more than anything, the community in that area. So the whole idea was to go meet with them, give them a full synopsis of the project on how it would impact them in every way, and then just get their blessings and get their prayers to be able to move forward. We're going to do it in 90 days. We're going to get the project manager for the creation, and we're going to finish the project.
Oh, really? Townspeople seem to welcome the plan, providing that the city will be beneficial to the town, as Akon says it will.
We hope that everything which was said gonna happen. Why we want the project? Because the youth here, they need jobs. And this project is an opportunity to open for jobs. And it will help because the village, there are some places where you don't have electricity, you don't have power. We hope that Akon is going to light all the village.
So now we're at the actual site of where the city is going to be built. So you can kind of see the whole land, everything, water, the whole site.
Akon has no history of developing large-scale projects like this. There are many who doubt he can create something that's being compared to the city in the Black Panther movie.
I love the movie and I embrace the fact that they're calling it the real life Wakanda because I felt the movie gave people the hope and the idea that something like this could possibly one day be real, And I think the first thought of making a dream come true is honestly getting to the mind of those who need to believe that it can actually happen. Now these designs are very eclectic, and they're shaped like statues. Similar to when a tourist come to Africa and they go through the airport and they buy the statue to take home with them. That's what the buildings look like. I honestly believe that it's 100% doable. And from my advisors that's been a part of the architectural structure as of right now and all the specifics and all the key, you could say, technical aspects, everything seems more than doable at this point. So I'm just excited to get it all up and running.
Akon says he has raised $4 of the $6 billion needed to fund the project. He says confidentiality agreements prevent him from disclosing most of his investors.
Right now, the major partners that we have are all private. One of our biggest donors is the Mwale Medical Center out of Kenya. And Julius Mwale is the owner of that. His dream was always to build a medical city, a renewable medical city. He actually started his construction in Kenya and has been doing it for the last 3 years. And so he came on board, and he has a family practice that actually does a lot of investment throughout Africa as well, who helped kind of bring in the funding for the $4 billion that we've actually secured at the moment.
After witnessing all the suit wearing, sales pitches, and political glad handing, it's easy to forget that this is a world famous pop star. But all you have to do is take a trip with the artist to be quickly reminded. And we did just that.
This is the 100 Club, our look at companies that are 100 years old or older.
For relaxing times, make it Suntory time.
Hollywood movie Lost in Translation put Suntory whiskey in the spotlight on a global stage for many. Its story began over a century earlier when Japanese merchant Shinjiro Torii started to develop Western-style liquors for a Japanese market.
In 1899, my great-grandfather founded the company in Osaka.
In 1923, Shinjo Torii built Japan's first whiskey distillery in Yamazaki. A few years and much experimentation later, Suntory's Kakubin whiskey was born.
"20 months ago, the doctor said, your husband is having a stroke. He's not going to be able to take care of himself, and he's not going to know you." Thanks to technology, he has so much more confidence. You can tell such a difference. He has a smoother stride. Samsung Gen Studies gives us hope and make mobility part of your everyday, and to walk independently and to never give up.
Our trust has been broken in our leaders, our institutions, even with our friends. And we are hurting. Now more than ever, we need to trust one another and rebuild those bonds. Because when we trust one another, that is when we can truly achieve great things.
You are all looking absolutely beautiful.
In July of 2019, Google hosted an event in Lagos, Nigeria to celebrate the accomplishments of several Nigerian musicians. There was also one non-Nigerian recording artist invited to acknowledge his contributions to the industry.
So I want to tell a testimony about what this man has been doing overseas for the African cause, behind the scenes, without asking for credit.
Make some noise for Akon, ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't expecting it. That's why I was like, I didn't know what to do. But I mean, I guess they were just acknowledging, the impact the contributed to the career themselves. Hold on, let me explain.
He's normally humble, but the man raised in Senegal couldn't help but to defend his country in a long-running West African debate.
Now, Nigerians, you guys are good. I give you credit. The jollof rice I just tasted, I loved it. I give you credit. But Senegal, we are the creators of jollof, so we're not in the conversation.
I'm not talking about the history of jollof rice. I'm saying which one is the best. Okay? So which one is the best?
Listen, I come this far by knowing which battles to fight and which to stand back. I will stand back.
We followed Akon for a couple of days during this trip to Lagos, and the respect he garners in the biz was evident almost everywhere.
Here's a guy that never forgot where he came from and continues to redefine what it means to be an artist, what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a dad, what it means to be a very creative and inspirational person to us all.
There's no remixing the fact that Akon was way ahead of everybody in regards to understanding, communicating how critical African music is going to be to the world.
Akon is is very familiar with Nigeria and the country's popular Afrobeats music scene. He says he helped several of the genre's heavyweights, including Davido and Wizkid, early in their careers.
What I saw in Afrobeat back then was the culture of it. You know, I saw how it was really similar to how it was in the Western world. You know, like how the younger kids were dressing, how they was mimicking melodies from the other side and bringing it over. But the twist was it was a African rhythm of it that you couldn't really escape, you know, and that's the part I was really engulfed in, because at that time I was trying to expose more African music to the Western world. I spent more time in Nigeria to help to build the idea of what this could be. And then after building the Afrobeat scene in Nigeria, I came to the States, had long conversations with, you know, record companies here, trying to sell them to this now. I'm like, yo, this is now's the time we need to do this. Let's create a big venture and just for Africa only. But they couldn't see the vision at the time. The UK actually beat them to it.
겹쳐서 못 올라오고
Caught me
있네.
in a bad place, and it's you that I have to pay.
Akon and the US labels may have missed on that opportunity, but it inspired him to one day take a shot at creating his own style of Afrobeats music.
Okay, right there.
Akon was finishing up his first Afrobeats album titled Akonda, which he released in October of 2019 under his iconic record label.
Hey, give me that bomb. This is right here, some legendary spells. The major super producer out of Nigeria. Actually, me and him did some records in the earlier days when I was working with Wizkid. I would like to you, baby girl, to protect your feelings. The creative side is the funnest part, you know? It just come effortless for me, you know? So, and that's the part when I realized that I was born to do this, because I know there's not too many people that can just go in the studio and just come up with a song from the moment they hear the track, you know? I thank God every day for that blessing, for sure.
Akon is making the most of his time while in Nigeria. His plan was to film 2 music videos out here, but he underestimated how fast word would spread that he was filming in the city.
I would say the fanfare, as being a celebrity, it doesn't really bother me. Like, honestly, it's a reminder of who I am and my responsibility, believe it or not. I always welcome it. I mean, I like to be with the people all the time. If I can, I mean, I can't even be on stage past 20 minutes without jumping into the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I love it, man. And it's that thing that shows and reminds me of how many people in the world are supporting what I'm doing. I think the security don't understand that the people are only hostile because you're preventing them. Like, I don't see my fans as a threat. You know, they're only here and rushing to get to me because of the love, and they just want to touch you, they want to say hello, they want to take a picture. But when you have security preventing them from that, and then the security becomes a little more hostile as to how they're doing it, it turns their love into hate for the security, and that can become a problem for me. So oftentimes I always make the security back up. It's becoming to the point where it's a new experience every day on reminding me on why, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing. Because sometimes we get to the point where we actually forget why we're even here or what our main purpose is. And I think those moments remind me that I'm working for the people and not myself. You know?
The next day, they were able to get a closed location to film the music video Low Key.
Low Key is more like, you know, this beautiful African woman that I'm chasing to an extent. And we never tell whether she's taken or not. But the whole idea is, regardless of what's happening, I just want to be with that on a low key.
Akon's foray into Afrobeats is part of a larger vision for the man who has done record deals with artists such as Lady Gaga and T-Pain.
I think the one thing that I haven't accomplished that I always wanted to accomplish was to create a genre-free brand. You know, I think the music industry still divides themselves by genres. And I think that music has now crossed over in a way where the genre doesn't matter anymore. It'll create more opportunities for newer artists to actually get big breaks. And I think it actually gives the musician more freedom as well, too, to experiment and do other things.
It's already established that Akon is doing a lot of other things. But many don't know about the strong belief system he leans on to give him confidence to make some of his big moves. We'll explore that next.
Superhero. Their disabilities are no match for their resolve.
They have taken a life that society has told them is broken, and they have turned it into something extraordinary.
From rugby to swimming, canoeing to athletics, join me, Christina McFarlane, as I meet 5 Paralympic athletes from around the world whose stories of willpower, strength and ambition define what it means to be a superhero.
Superhero, Saturday on CNN. Across Africa, businesses are working together like never before. All new on CNN, Connecting Africa.
Join me and Lenny Jokas as we crisscross the continent to show you how new connections between people, places and projects are revolutionizing commerce in Africa.
All new Connecting Africa, December 5th on CNN, in association with Afreximbank. Africa Avant-Garde, Saturday on CNN.
I'm Scott McLean in Brno, Czech Republic, and this is CNN.
Alright, so now we're gonna go into the guest house where I got the studio, and I got my sons in there working now. They're currently working on their projects. I got an entity that I created for them called the Foreign Billionaires, which is their entity. They own it 100%, and they'll be writing, producing, doing everything, content within it, and even signing their friends through the process. Sneak peek of what they got going on. My little mini-me's. Check out mine. Nothing much. You good?
Akon has 9 children, and it looks like a few of them are interested in following his footsteps in the music biz. The artist who once spent time in jail and sang about being locked up hopes his kids learn from his mistakes.
I think the hardest part for a kid in the beginning is to realize that I'm famous even though I'm not famous. You know what I mean? Just being my son makes them famous. And as kids, as they grow older, the only thing they care about is friends. And my only thing to them was find and make sure you're hanging around all the right people. Because even from an example for me, they saw how I used to hang around with a whole bunch of thugs. And they see who I'm hanging around with today. And me showing them that transition, they kind of get that early and know that you got to come into this game already knowing the right people around you. My goal is to give them the best advice I can according to what I've ever been through, and just hope that they can utilize it if ever that experience in their life comes and they can apply it to it. So what I oftentimes tell them is, I'm never going to tell you what to do or what not to do, right? I'm just going to tell you what I think is the right direction according to what I've been through. And then you can take that information and apply whatever in that information that you feel applies to your life today the best.
I get a lot of criticism in this house. So, like, usually I came to a point, like, if there's a song that someone said, change this, I just start a whole new song and just hope what I did wrong in the last song I did right in the new one.
They all got their own vibe, but it's like a piece of me within their own self. And that's what I love about it, because when I hear it, it's like they all took my personality differently from a different perspective. My faith and my family are like two of the most important elements in my life. You know, my family is why I do majority of what I'm doing today. And my faith allows me to be able to do it, you know. And I have these conversations with my family all the time, because they always look and be like, man, Khan, you don't worry, man. Like, everybody's stressed out. Like, how are you not stressed? Like, I'm like, well, how are y'all stressed out about me? And I'm not even stressed out about me, you know?
Back in Senegal, Akon displayed that stress-free attitude the day before officially announcing Akon City.
This is the area where I was raised. So I'm here to see my spiritual advisor. His name is Sitting Mahi. He's the one I'll call on to when I need spiritual advice. And normally when you do projects this big or anything in life that you want to do that you need some spiritual guidance, there's a local spiritual advisor that you can get advice from. He's mine. I live by this 100% rule. I believe that everything that's happening in my life is happening with God's permission. And I don't question nothing. If it happened, it's because it's supposed to happen. There's a lot of words that I would like to speak in Wolof, but unfortunately Wolof don't have all the words.
When Akon was able to address a Senegalese audience at the site where his city is scheduled to start construction, it gave a sense of accomplishment to a man who has already accomplished so much in other areas.
Because one thing we know about Africa, there's been a huge misconception of what Africa is, how Africa was taught to people outside of Africa, and how people look at Africa from outside of Africa. Unfortunately, the media just never did us really well. And there's so much blessings here, it's so beautiful, it's so much opportunity that it's never really exposed. And we want to be able to expose that opportunity for everyone abroad to have confidence that they can invest here in Senegal. The feelings that ran through my body, man, announcing this was just, I was just proud of myself for sticking to it long enough. This was a 10-year thought process that just now beginning to coming into fruition. So it's like most people have these dreams, but they never reach it because they give up before they get there, you know? And I'm realizing that anything that may seem to be impossible from everybody else is gonna take a lot longer to accomplish. And you just gotta keep going at it. So when I saw the reception of everyone in the community, it only motivated me even more. And I also want to be able to accomplish that my legacy is built properly, you know, because I felt that I started my legacy in a very dark place. You know, my turning point was being locked up, and I felt it to this day, that's what saved me, you know, because it allowed me that time to think of what my future needs to look like. Is it gonna be this room, or is it gonna be that out there? And the wisdom to know the difference is something that you should pray for God for, because understanding the difference between the two, it just gives you a clearer path on which direction to go.
We'll be watching to see if Akon can make his dream city a reality. And I'm interested to know your thoughts about Akon City, so reach out on our social channels and let me know what you think. I'm Ari Topo, and I'll see you next week with more exciting changemakers.
Association with Gulf Saudi.
First on the team from Sweden, Anna Nordquist.
I didn't get started playing golf, I think, until I was 10. I tried it, I hated it, so I quit. And then a few years later, my mom decided she was going to start playing, and then a competitor in me decided I was going to be the worst golfer in the family. So I picked it up again when I was 13.
You've achieved more than so many could ever even dream of. How does it feel now, you know, when you look back on the last 10 years with all of those different highs?
Yeah, I'm very, very proud. Like, it's just beyond like what I could have imagined, but I feel like I love the game, and I love improving, and I love practicing, and it's just that kick like you can't get from anything else.
와, 34분?
On the team in association with Gulf Saudi.
20 months ago, the doctor said, your husband is having a stroke. He's not going to be able to take care of himself, and he's not going to know you. Thanks to technology, he has so much more confidence. You can tell such a difference. He has a smoother stride. Samsung Gen Studies gives us hope to make mobility part of your everyday and to walk independently and to never give up.
The journey to the top for a successful business in Africa starts with an idea. But how does a concept become a moneymaker?